All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're unpacking a goal that honestly sounds pretty radical at first, but is actually mathematically achievable: retiring in exactly 10 years. We're going to break down the exact blueprint of how you can retire by 44, drawing from some seriously eye-opening financial data and real-world case studies.
So I want to kick things off with a direct question for you. Can you retire in exactly 10 years? Now, I know most people instantly hear that and think, no way, absolutely not unless I win the lottery. But what if hitting financial independence by 44 isn't about luck at all? No massive inheritance, no winning ticket. What if it's just a calculated, strictly behavioral formula?
To show you exactly how this works, I want you to meet Alden and Faye. They're both exactly 34 years old. Picture this. On a random Tuesday night, they both sit down at their kitchen tables with exactly $50,000 to their names. They open up the exact same spreadsheet to plan their 10-year retirement. But fast forward 10 years, Faye is 44 and she's happily retired. Alden is 44 and he's still stuck working, heavily reliant on his next paycheck. They had the exact same starting capital. So what in the world happened?
To figure that out, we're going to walk through their financial playbook. We'll cover avoiding the debt trap, managing the single salary risk, the power of recurring revenue, smart and simple investing, and then finally putting it all together to retire by 44.
Let's start with part 1, avoiding the debt trap.
You see, Alden's major pitfall was living like his imaginary, future-rich self. He was funding a lifestyle at today's punishing interest rates. And hey, he's definitely not alone here. Americans are currently sitting on a record $1.28 trillion in credit card debt. That's trillion with a T. Roughly 60% of cardholders carry a balance month to month, and they're getting hit with an average rate of around 20 to 25%. It's basically lifestyle creep weaponized. You know, people upgrade their lives because they feel they deserve it, right? But they're spending money they literally haven't made yet. And those 25% APRs, they completely sabotage your wealth building before you even get started.
There's this brilliant realization from the sources that just hits the nail on the head. Past me spent the money, current me pays the bill. Think about it. Every single dollar of interest you pay to a credit card company is a dollar your future self worked hard to earn, but never actually gets to touch. It's just gone. You are literally working today to pay for a Tuesday night dinner you ate 3 years ago. Crazy, right? And that leads us to what is perfectly described as debt lasagna. Yeah, layering loans on top of loans. We see terrifying examples of this all the time. I'm talking 22-year-olds with $100,000 in debt before their careers even begin. Usually it's driven by buying $55,000 cars they absolutely cannot afford and then rolling the negative equity from their old car into a new loan. Oh, and putting the down payment on a credit card. It's literally borrowing money to cover money you already owe. It's mathematical self-destruction, and sadly, it's the exact path Alden took.
Okay, moving on to part 2, the single salary risk.
We need to talk about the dangerous illusion of safety that comes from relying entirely on a single monthly paycheck from one boss. The data on this is an absolute wake-up call. A staggering 75% of people lack a sufficient emergency fund. 75%! They're living month to month, just waiting for that direct deposit to clear. If that single income stops for whatever reason, they are completely exposed. Their financial survival timeline isn't measured in years, it's measured in mere days or weeks.
So the crucial takeaway here is that a single salary is actually incredibly fragile. It's surrounded by these hidden, overlapping risks. Just look at the surging layoffs recently. Over 6,700 startup cuts in just one sector, and one major tech firm alone cut 12,000 positions. No job is perfectly safe. Add to that the rise of AI and automation replacing roles, plus compounding inflation, like we just saw a 14% spike in healthcare costs. Relying on one paycheck in this environment is like walking a tightrope without a net.
Which brings us to Faye's very first defensive move. Instead of going out and financing a new car, she took her essential monthly expenses and multiplied them by 6. She built herself an untouchable 6-month emergency safety net. No flashy investments yet, no luxury purchases, just purely buying herself the ultimate luxury, peace of mind, and hardcore protection against that single salary risk.
That sets us up perfectly for part 3, the power of reoccurring revenue. So with her defense firmly in place, Faye knew she had to go on the offense. She had to diversify her income away from just her employer. But instead of starting some glamorous business like, say, a premium cafe with super high overhead where you have to fight for one-time sales every single day, she looked at boring businesses. We're talking operations like commercial cleaning, Low overhead, absolutely zero Instagram aesthetic, but running on guaranteed recurring annual contracts. The boring business wins every single time because it secures reliable cash flow.
And this taps into the absolute ultimate wealth secret: recurring revenue. Getting paid repeatedly, month after month, for acquiring a customer just once. It's a total game changer. It's what separates those who hustle daily just to find new sales from those who literally make money while they sleep. You put in the hard work of securing the contract once, and that income just becomes an automated baseline.
This strategy points to highly resilient, boring businesses. Stuff like commercial cleaning, pest control contracts, vending machines placed in optimal locations, commercial laundry for hotels, equipment rental, RO water ATMs, and even micro SaaS software. Now, what do all of these actually have in common? Customers buy them out of strict necessity. Think about it. A hospital always needs clean bed sheets, right? An office always needs a clean floor. These businesses are practically recession-proof, and they lean heavily on recurring contracts. Okay, but how do you actually start? Well, here are the practical steps Faye used to establish a secondary income stream without even having to quit her day job. Level 1 requires zero investment. That's just using your existing skills for freelancing or consulting on the weekends. Easy enough. Level 2 is creating digital products. You build something once, like a template or an ebook, and you can sell it infinitely. And then level 3 is micro businesses, deploying a little bit of capital into automated setups like vending machines. Faye uses a smart combination of these to create a second recurring paycheck.
Next up is part 4, smart and simple investing. So Faye now has her original $50,000 completely protected, and she's got extra recurring revenue rolling in. How does she deploy all that cash into the market? Well, instead of picking complex, actively managed mutual funds or hedge funds, the ones that require heavy research, charge massive fees, and constantly try to beat the market, she chose passive index funds. These funds just simply copy the broader market list. The data consistently shows that complex, active management actually underperforms the market long term, all while costing everyday investors an absolute fortune in fees.
To put that into perspective, a typical passive index fund carries an incredibly low expense ratio of just 0.05% to 0.20%. That means if you invest $100,000, you're paying maybe $50 to $200 a year in fees. Compare that to active funds that might charge 1.5% or more. Over a 10-year sprint, keeping your fees low is mathematically critical. A high fee drag literally eats the compounding power of your wealth from the inside out.
The mathematical reality here is remarkably simple. Time in the market is always greater than timing the market. You don't need a hedge fund's aggressive high-risk strategy to retire early, and you definitely don't need to stress over daily stock charts. You just need consistent, automated investments into a broad, low-cost index fund. Just let compound interest do all the heavy lifting in the background while you focus on growing that recurring revenue.
Which brings us to our final section, retiring by 44.
Let's bring the narrative of this explainer back to the starting line and synthesize everything we've just learned about our two 34-year-olds. When we put these two paths side by side, the math is just undeniable. Alden used his income to fund liabilities. He rolled car loans into car loans, he paid 25% interest to credit card companies, and he relied completely on a single salary that left him totally vulnerable. Faye, on the other hand, took her identical starting position and built an untouchable 6-month safety net. She created a boring but super reliable recurring revenue stream, she avoided toxic debt like the plague, and she consistently invested in low-fee index funds so she could earn interest rather than pay it. Ultimately, she bought her freedom, while he just bought a lifestyle. And that leaves us with one highly provocative question for you to answer today. Look at your own financial habits right now, the money coming in and the money going out. Are you actively building for Faye's 44 or Alden's 44? The clock is ticking, and the choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.